We'll start off with the roll call.
All right. Mark,
Present.
and Calvary,
Here.
Jay,
Present.
Jay, right, present, and
Chris.
Chris, Chris, present, and Heath.
Present.
Okay, we're all here.
Thank you. As you see, we only had 6 board members here this evening. Fortunately, Greg Armstrong has stepped down. He resigned. I guess he had, so many bad vibes, so he felt like he should step down. And we're going to try and see if we can have a filler for that position, and we need to have a special meeting for this, and that will be coming up. With that said, I'd like to call Kaunoe to give the invocation.
Thank you, each one of you, for being present and being a part of Leilani, for her newness and who you are, that you add to our community and its specialness. So I want to thank you both, all of you, for that. I'd like to call the gathering together. I would like to do a chant, and the chant is about calling in the ancestors and the spirit of the highest being that you call on to give us the wisdom and to feel the mana'o within and na'au, where all things come from the wisdom of us, and to share that with one another and to be in that ono with one another. Oh my, oh my, oh my, ke mai una mai, o na mea una no yao, o la mai, oh my, oh my, oh my. Oh my, kai mai luna mai e, o na mea huna no iau, o na mai e o mai, e o mai, e o mai e o mai, kai mai luna mai e, o na mea huna no iau, o na mai oh my, oh my, oh my.
President's remarks. As we all can see, the eruption had been a big key for us. And that kind of stirred every property owner up, and even myself. And I really feel for those that lost their property. The board here, we're going to try and see and try to do the best we can to get everything back into tip-top shape, but it's going to be hard. We're going to need all your support we can get. Yeah. We have to do it right, and if you have any mana'o, any thoughts, let me know, or let one of the board members know, because I like to make things right. You leave this building, don't be talking behind our backs. You have something to say it here, right in the open, and we just hash it out. We had a lot of issues throughout this ordeal, and most of it was bad issues. So we're trying to resolve this issue, and I think we did a pretty well amount of it. One of them is the gates. we totally dropped the gates issue. Yeah. We had it set up for Leilani Avenue. We put a vote to it, the yes vote won. So to pursue it, it would take too many red tapes. Gotta go to Department UPW, Public Works, Civil Defense, HPD. I went to those different agencies and get there, Manao, they said, you can do it, but it's gonna be a long process. I said, why should we even think about gates? Let it go. Same as the border, the section, we thought about gating off the borders. That also, we drop it. There are too many bad vibes, So we said, complete, no more, okay? Oh, there's so much I can think of, but this board is brand new, as you can see, and they want to take on, this challenge. As far as for me, it's brand new for me as a resident slot. I went to, luckily I got rained out today. I work construction. I got to travel to Monocawa every day. I got rained out today. So, I got to go and see Ray Hasegawa, yeah, and try to straighten up some issues with him, legal issues. And we're going to try to mediate one of the lawsuits. Yeah. It's going to be hard, but we're going to try. Yeah. I want to do it, and we got to move forward. With that said, Robin?
Okay.
Thank you.
So the board wanted me to summarize the work. We've been meeting in weekly executive sessions to start tackling more of the work we have and also to get to know each other and create a working body. And that's why they're executive, because we just wanted to be close to ourselves. But going forward, there will be open meetings and people that want to come and listen to what we're talking about are welcome to come. So I want to review, there have been minutes that have been communicated, but I just want to go over the key issues that I feel we've made progress on, or issues that we're addressing and have been addressed in the last 3 weeks. First, Mark has already touched upon that, is the issue of gates and safety. Andy soon will talk about the progress this committee has made, and we've given Andy's committee, the SCOTA committee, our full support and endorsement. We've made progress on reducing the tourists in terms of driving around, particularly on the side streets, and Chris in particular, with Heath's help and other people, Jay, have created these barricades, stanchions, whatever you want to call them, that have had effective in terms of keeping people from going down the side streets. So we feel like we're going to make progress there. And as Mark has said, we have decided not to go forward on gate on Leilani and not to go forward on create barriers between section 1 and section 2. So that's for the gates issue. 2 legal issues. The board has asked our treasurer to begin an outside agency to do an audit of finances, just to make sure we have a clean bill of health and to clean up any irregularities if they exist. We're in the process of deciding on who to retain for our legal counsel. Ray Hasegawa has been our lawyer from before, and we're also going to do another interview with a different lawyer this coming week and make a decision of who we want to use going forward to be in our best interest. We have permanently dissolved our connections with Mike Patrick in terms of using him and his agency to collect past due accounts because of certain legal improprieties. We are beginning our process headed by Chris. We're going to have a bylaws committee to review all of our bylaws, and so make sure everything is current and pony up. Finally, we're going to create a committee responsible for the implementation of the CC&Rs, headed by Colin Murray. So we can take care of those, and those processes will be made public and will be very clear and transparent. In terms of the issue, one of the major issues that the community spoke about was their concern for transparency. And that's why I've been quickly turning around minutes so the public can read them. The voting tabulations were published. Going forward, we'll have open meetings, open weekly meetings. The next one, in fact, will be on Tuesday. We've changed our date to Tuesday from Wednesday. We'll be meeting here from 7 to 8:30. And we've called for candidates to fill the vacancy of the board. We did that because we wanted to make an open call, and instead of just choosing the next person in terms of the amount of popular vote. Long term, there are many long-term issues, but there's perhaps the key major long-term issues that we've started to look on is tourism proposal, and we will have a discussion about that Chris will lead in terms of our thinking about tourism. 2, roads to be repaired. Some of our roads have been damaged, need to be repaired. There's still some concern that there might be some shifting going on, and so we're going to wait 6 months and then make a final determination on going forward and repairing our roads. And finally, we're getting estimates on what it would take to have Kahukai connect to the homes that are in the Kipuka that have been surrounded by lava. And we're getting an estimate on that. So those were the major points that we've addressed in the last 3 weeks. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
At this time, comments, people want to make comments? You have 3 minutes on anything. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'd like to make some comments. First comment is on the vote to forget about the gates. So, the vote that members of the community took feel like the board just completely ignored that. Why have a vote if the board can override and decide just to abandon the idea of the gates? So, it's like that, bad impression on that. Also, a quick note on the minute meetings, it'd be nice if I could get on the website before Nextdoor. I don't think Nextdoor is an appropriate place for the minutes. But, because I was looking for them, and they're not on the website, and then someone said, oh, they're on Nextdoor. I was like, why Nextdoor? My next thing is about tourism. I think it's a bad idea since we're trying to limit businesses in the community. Why does the LCA want to jump in and try to do a business? It also smacks a little of cronyism when you hear that there's discussions with property owners about parking and buying parcels. It seems like this is all behind the doors and it's not going to go well. It's going to piss people off, and you need more transparency. If you're talking to somebody in the community, needs to know who. I don't want parking up on my house. I live adjacent to Fisher 8. I'm already tired of the tourist vans and the buses and the cabbage out on the street. I don't want to drive on the street to a parking lot at my neighbor's house. I think that's going to be an issue. And then a quick question on the bylaws. I understand over time there's been additions to the bylaws. Where I live, they're not on the website. They're not evident there's any addition to the bylaws. Why? Nobody knows. It's kind of a gray area. And I think, that's a few comments. But, just on that transparency issue, let's know what's going on. I don't like finding out secondhand if something affects me or my neighbors or something else. Well, one of the proposals I'd like to throw about tourism, this is a simple, easy one to start off with a solution. So it strikes me that the easiest thing is to have people park in the community parking lot here, charge them, have them walk down to Leilani Avenue, build a boardwalk on county property, so it off. And that's simple and easy, and it wouldn't offend too many people. You don't have to do a deal with anybody behind the back. And I'd also like to see any kind of a business plan of proposed tourism. How's the money going to be? Because that's what's going to piss people off. When money starts going around, people are going to get pissed, and there'll be lawsuits.
Thanks, Jeff, for your comment. Go ahead.
So just to quickly respond, I made a mistake. I've been emailing the minutes to the webmaster, and there's a spelling error in that email address, and no one got back to me that he was not receiving them. So they should hopefully be posted going forward.
Yeah, just an observation.
No, I know that, but I just want to clear that up.
Yeah, I live on Miley Street, which seems to be the major highway into section 1 with speeding cars. And I don't want a gate up there. I didn't vote for, I wasn't in favor of that, but I would like to see some speed bumps put in. And also in Upper Kahukai, where I have a house also. I did unofficial research and working in my yard and counted one day 17 cars in a 2-hour period, and 16 of them turned right on Malama up to section 1 turned down. And they speed. And it's dangerous for my dog, for me, the cats in the neighborhood, and everybody in the street. So I would like to see some of Leilani's money spent on speed bumps or ticket collection. And like I volunteered to help Mark with his last thing, proposal or whatever to get some speed bumps put in there.
Yes, last year and even previous years, I had proposed to put speed humps in
Right.
up on Kahukai, Miley Street. But there's a policy now that we have in place. So what the policy states is, however amount of resident you have on your street within a 300 square mile, or I'm not quite sure, but they had a figure, a number. And then you have to contact those people and then let them know that what you want to do. Yeah, because those people would have to put up the money to pay for the material and cost. Yeah, so, but I would like to get that money. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, we'd like to know the reason that the board decided not to go with the person who received the most votes after the limits. How did that happen? It doesn't seem logical to us.
Well, there's 3 options. We can go that way.
Even in the bylaws it says there's 3 options?
I spoke to our attorney. Yeah, yeah,
Go
because
on, I'm sorry.
I had the impression when we go with the slate,
Mhm.
the next highest number,
Yeah.
but the majority of the board decided to work it different way. So,
Is there any reason, the most common reason given among the board members for that decision?
Well, I'll just speak for myself.
Yeah, thanks.
That I felt that, situation perhaps has changed since the initial voting took place. And I saw no disadvantage in opening it up to the entire community, who might be interested in filling that position. That seemed to be it seemed the most neutral way of going about it.
You're talking about having another election?
No, not to have another election, but that people who are interested in applying for that position come, because the board it does say in the bylaws, the board chooses, it says explicitly in the bylaws, the board chooses to fill any vacancy that occurs.
Okay.
There's nothing in the bylaws about saying we must call an election. It's rather, it's up to the board to pick the next person.
When there's a resignation.
When there's a right, exactly.
So it isn't about, yeah.
Right, and so that's why I thought it would be best, let the board make the best informed decision.
For those who are really interested in that specific position.
What?
For those who are interested in that specific
Yes,
position.
yeah, who want to be one of the, who want to be a director.
Yeah.
Rob?
Yeah, I'm also surprised about the gate topic just being dropped. Because that just doesn't make sense to me. I'd like to know what the county does require. And yes, working with the county can be very long-term, it almost always is.
Yeah.
But you just kind of plod along and you take the steps and you get there eventually. There's a lot of advantages to having the gate. It is supported by the community. Now we're talking about a tourism plan.
not everybody's on board with tourism. So we dropped the gate, which was clearly supported by the community. We're taking a close look at tourism. I hope that the community is going to be involved in that decision.
It will.
Yeah, and we live on Capona Street. Fisher 8 is just about in our backyards. It looks like it's in our backyard. We have lots of traffic going by our house. People stop in front of our house and they look at us, you know. And you can hear the voices from the people that are walking out on Fisher 8. You can just about hear what they're having for lunch. The sound carries like it does in the desert. You can really hear. So, we'd like to have our quiet residential community back. That's what many people are still enjoying in Leilani, but it seems like the people on Capona Street in Nohea are going to get a different deal. That's what it's sort of sounding like. So those are my concerns. But I would like to hear what you learned, Mark, from the county and the different agencies in making this decision not to go forward with the gate. And one of the aspects of the gate that wasn't frequently discussed is that it would increase our property values. A gated community was never anything that I considered when I was on the mainland. But since I've been living here, I see that it has a very sound purpose for protecting the community. It would really cut down on crime, and it would raise our property values to be in a gated community. So apart from tourism, I think those are values, those are some ideas that the community really supports. Yes, they're not interested in tourism, but they're really not interested in crime, and they're really not interested, and they are interested in their property values being protected. So I say don't drop the gate issue. You've got to pursue it. Thank you.
I totally agree with you. Well,
Two things. On the road repair, 6 months. Private roads, is FEMA funds going to be available?
we'll have to look into that.
Okay, I'm going to begin investigating that shortly. Thank you. And Kahun Kai Kapuka, who's looking at that?
I'm taking care of that. I've got earth carvers giving me a proposal,
Excellent. Thank you.
and then probably I'm gonna try to ask John here to give me his one of his workers if he can give a proposal.
Thank you.
Peter, Pete,
The two times that I did Ann's job when she was on vacation, I came upon two issues that really you guys could address with just a little work. One is opening up that router so that it actually works down there, so that when you have a meeting, you can actually, using my phone, not a Verizon phone, you can actually get connectivity so that it can be streamed. But there's a big problem down there because there's no good audio system. So the streaming coming from the meetings down in the
122?
no, right, this building, whatever you call it.
The pavilion.
The pavilion, yeah. So meetings in the pavilion, you can stream them if you've got Verizon connectivity. But the audio is atrocious because you don't have handheld mics with a good audio system that with anybody's iPhone could be picked up. So my suggestion my secondary suggestion would be that you purchase, I found them for $200, probably, because I'm cheap, it's a cheap system, but for $200 you can get 4 handheld audio mics that could be connected to a speaker system that would relay enough audio, sound, to be picked up by a iPhone.
Okay.
And that's not a swimming pool, it's just $200. So it's not a big deal. And it would facilitate communication between your people's constituents. On another issue, another point, if I may, I don't know what a month would make a difference in when Robert said that conditions have changed since the election. I don't know what conditions could possibly have changed, but the people who were running for the directorships, there were a number of people, the community voted, no conditions have changed from my perspective, and the next one up, straightforward, should be on the board. My position.
Thank you, Pete.
Pete, we passed at last night's meeting, we're buying high-speed internet, and then we could have an internet hotspot there that you would use to...
Well, that would solve it. That would solve one portion of it.
Yeah.
But if this internet
So this
was
is
not
not
even, it
speed.
was
This is not
incompetently set up, and I worked with networks for years. Whoever set that up wasn't able to get it to even,
Because it's not high speed, that's the reason.
you don't need high speed.
Well,
I mean,
Well,
you can do it with the speed you get out of this. You got a 5G system coming out of that. But anyway, just a point.
Ross?
A couple of things. First of all, Robert, you said Kawanui is going to be doing CCNRs in your notes from last week.
she's just the head of the committee, yes.
Head of the committee? Okay. So, first of all, what I want to say is, I want to start before the election and everything. Chris, I pretty well knew you. Jay, I know you pretty well. Mark, I know you pretty well. Heath, somewhat, and the rest of you were just kind of meeting since all this is going on. During our get to know the candidates, I had said I welcomed all the people applying, and it was great because in years past nobody wanted to do it. It's kind of like a thankless job, and it was nice that so many people were up there to do it. But what I also did say that I hoped everybody that was applying was doing it for the right reasons for our community and to keep this our slice of paradise that it's always been. So that being said, I just want to go over a couple things that I've noticed on the minutes about the tourism. I'm all for tourism. I mean, when the eruption was going off and they blocked off where civil defense had to let you in, I volunteered to take people in because I lived here. I wanted to know what was going on over there. I wanted to know what that volcano was doing, where the lava was going. I didn't want to be on the other side. We're known all over the world. I mean, people are coming everywhere to see it. You know, we're the next hottest attraction. But that being said, it definitely needs to be controlled. The community voted for the gate. It's hard, yes. That's why I don't think anybody on the board currently has the legal expertise to figure that one out, because working with the county and everything is hard. I think we need legal representation, but because the people went for it, I think that's something we have to go for. We already have Leilani 1 and 2, and there's already a divide. This section down here where the majority of the lava was, that's not a new section, that's still Leilani 2. And putting up gates, so we're gonna have 1, 2, and 3? That doesn't seem fair. I also noticed in the notes that we're looking at money to pay for roads, and we're gonna compensate those who lost their homes or their property and didn't have insurance and weren't compensated anyway. It's a natural disaster. But we're all equal, we're all homeowners, we're all in this together. We all had the opportunity to buy insurance or not. I had a house with no insurance. That was my choice, I didn't get it. Luckily my house didn't go. But to compensate just people who made the conscious decision not to buy insurance, or for whatever reason didn't get compensated, now we're going to reward them and we're not going to be equal with all the remainder of property owners. That doesn't seem fair to me. It needs to be one for all. We talk about tourism, and we're talking about Jay and Chris getting parking, buying lots and stuff for parking. Are they buying it as the community? Are they buying it personally? Are we going to then rent back the parking lot from board members? I mean, what is the business plan? we need to put this out to the entire community. What is your plan for tourism? It's not that you just get on the board and you decide that this is what we're going to do. We can now just do it. We're going to eliminate the gates, you know. Mark, at the church, the meeting, you were so passionate about, I've never seen you so passionate about, there will be no tourism, period. I mean, I had never seen that side of you in the years that I've known you. And I was kind of impressed, but I applaud you for speaking your piece. But now, if we look at it from the other side, it could look like, you know, we want transparency. Your son-in-law has a tour company, so now you're in favor of it. That doesn't mean that's the reason, but it can look that way. And it's like, we gotta have transparency, and we have to let everybody know. It's, you know, the people vote on what we want. I don't know if it's true, but in the executive meetings, can you do votes? Are voting done behind closed doors, or are they done as a whole, as a community, in front of the community, so that everybody knows what the votes are? I just think that it's the board's job to really go after the putting in a gate, what it's going to take. I think it's going to require some legal action. I think we need some legal representation on tourism, how to do it. Way back when, Chris and I talked about, oh, you know, this is going to be the multi-million-dollar deal. I mean, you can really make money off of this. But it doesn't look like we're doing it for the community. It looks more like it's for ourselves.
What part of the community would you do it for?
What's that?
What part of the community would you do it for if you're going to do it at all?
Tourism?
Yeah.
Well, I would think that you would definitely have first a business plan of how you're,
I'm
what
asking
it
you,
is.
who would you do it for? If you're going to do it and do it in a charitable manner, who would you do it for?
All of section 2.
All of section 2.
The roads belong to section 2, correct?
Okay. Yep. But this is kind of ties in what your idea was as far as businesses go. Who said business? I mean,
Yeah,
I think about it.
Leilani should be involved in business.
Well, I'm not talking about LCA, I'm talking about you. If you wanted to have a business, or you wanted to have a business, could you have a business out of your property? Are you allowed?
Yeah, we'd have to go and do that.
I mean, but the thing is there's a misconception that you're not allowed to have business. So,
I want to make one brief statement, because there's a lot of rumor flying around. Board members need to be able to discuss amongst themselves, and this discussion getting out is long before any voting is done. Therefore, it has no genuine meaning at that time yet. We're discussing ideas. There is no, well, I'm going to buy a lot, or he's going to buy a lot. For Christ's sakes, back in December, I drew a plan for 3 properties and a gated whole thing as a proposal idea only. Has nothing to do with LCA directly or me directly. Doesn't mean it's going to be done. So to chase that around as, well, you're going to do this and that, no, cool it down, unless it's come out in the minutes. It's just discussion.
I'm just going by what's on the minutes about you and Chris buying lots. It's right.
I already own one, so I don't have to buy one. So I mean,
Well, I understand, and that's why I think
I've never made the statement that I would buy a lot.
I'm just going by what's in the minutes. It's right here. I printed it. I didn't write it, so it's
We need
there.
to move on.
Okay, and then the next thing, I didn't, you know, if the rules are that you can pick whoever you want to replace by replacement, that's perfectly okay. If that's the legal route, you say you talk to Ray and that's it. I'm gonna trust what you say. I believe you. I would have thought that we would have gone down the route, you know, the list by votes, and I know that Emily declined, so next in line was me. I was asked to come to last night's meeting and then asked not to. And the reason why they want to change it, I'm quite sure, is because I believe in transparency and I want to hold everybody accountable. So whether I'm on that side or this side, we're going to hold everybody accountable. CCNRs, I talked about in my statement about getting elected. I thought that was important because you can't tell what's squatters, what's homeowners or property owners when people are living in tents and containers and all different things. We have to go after that. But I'll tell you right now, there's not one CCNR that can be legally enforced upon any one of us because we have a board member who is not in good standing, is not in compliance with the CCNRs. So the past president and current director is not in good standing. How can the board enforce them on us?
Have you filed a complaint?
Jay, you have chickens.
Have you filed a complaint?
Come on, we're past 3 minutes on his time.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. Conspiracy. Let's go.
Andy?
Speaking to Pete's point, the movie night sound system, which is extraordinarily good amplifier and speakers, could be easily have a very less than $200 purchase addition that would add microphones and create a very good PA system.
I was just talking about handheld mics, so
Yeah.
no wires, so that's
Wireless.
Yeah, no, I mean, but the speakers and amp are spectacular, so all you'd have to add is the PA interface and the microphones. You have a great sound system. It's sitting right in that office right there.
Thank you.
bingo.
No, is that moving on?
No other comments? Moving on to the next issue. Andy?
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to speak as the Squatter Elimination and Crime Reduction Committee. I have a bunch of stuff. I promise I'm not going to read it all, and which is why I created handouts so that and there's enough for. I hope there's enough for all of you, so that why don't you? Hi, Kurt. Nice to see you. Homework. Is it okay if I just work them that way and we'll get it from there? Okay, so this is the, so I'm Andy Andrews. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Squatter Elimination and Crime Reduction Committee. We've created the acronym CCRC, so I don't have to say that every time. And this is the monthly report to the board of that committee. And quickly as I can do it. The home at 133453 Pomac High Street has been cleared of a squatter. We've had a 3-week track record now being monitored by both us and police, and knock on plastic, there's no squatters in it, and they've been cleared out. We're very near completion on the second Pomac High Street house. There's a May court hearing that has to happen in regards to it early May, and we have every reason to believe that that will also end in success. So that's now 4 squatter houses. And by the way, somebody mentioned last time that I shouldn't say squatter, they're trespass houses. I'm going to use the term squatter, however, simply because it's the common vernacular to talk about people in a house illegally. They're actually being prosecuted on trespass, criminal trespass violations, not squatter laws. We've reopened and on a very good level of communication, cooperation with the Pahoa PD. Captain John Brisky has been in constant communication with me as far as what's going on. A special shout out to Captain John Brisky. He had officers every single night, 4 to 6 checks a night on the last squatter house we cleared out. Officers went by 4 to 6 times every single night to look for activity at that house and saw none. So a big shout out, because I know they're operating with a light staff, and so assigning them that much time to Leilani Estates is really appreciated. We've begun to work with the board gave the squatter committee permission to begin to work with Mike Garbarino again, and Mike is working on 2 existing trespass squatting homes, both of which we have every reason to believe, based on police reports, have both drug and crime activity, and we're making progress towards both of those homes. Item 5, I'm not going to read it all because it's lengthy, but it's an outline of services that Mike Garbarino is now providing pro bono to the CCRC committee. I will read item F because the board asked for that, and so It says that the terms of the representation include that, and underline, under no circumstances will my services be billed to the LCA, but instead all professional hours worked will be donated as a community service to LCA and in furtherance of a cause that I firmly believe worth fighting for. That's written by Mike, and he wanted me to read that statement. But A through E, if you read it, you'll read about some of the, basically an outline of the services that Mike's working with us on the Seacurve committee. Item 6 is we're in the process of creating a database for what we've decided to use the term at-risk homes. And so what we want to do is reach out to the Leilani community. The method for reaching out I'll cover in a minute, for helping to identify clearly at-risk homes. We'll ask neighbors to identify those. We're not looking to stick our noses where they don't belong, but we also feel that there are homes that are in the state of genuine abandonment, and we need to identify those homes. We'll contact the owners of those homes. If a person is renting in the Hawaiian Islands, it's state law that they must have an on-island agent present at all times. So we're going to begin to ask that of people, that they assign that on-island agent, and then working through that agent, if they're not on the island, that we'll be able to work with that agent to get permission when and if it becomes necessary to bring the police into a violation home. We're going to provide, the committee is going to provide accurate legal information in the form of handouts and online information on trespass laws, on squatter rights, and I put rights in quotation marks, because squatters have no rights. There's all kinds of misconceptions about and many places, by the way, the squatters have rights. Squatters have no rights if they're not there with the permission of the owner. And we intend to correct that rampant information so that homeowners don't feel like they're being victimized with no avenue for recourse. And we're going to provide properly worded legal templates for owner-initiated legal recourse. So an owner can use a form that's already made out by a lawyer that can be handed to the police or to the courts to get people out of their homes they don't want them in. Item 7 is we had an incredibly productive and educational meeting with Rick Damerville of the Hawaii Prosecutor's Office. He gave us a wealth of information about moving forward with prosecutions, and that was really great because the prosecutor's office was the missing link. We had the police on board, but now we have the prosecutor's office on board with us. We're working on item 8. We're working on a secure communication and reporting system for both within the committee and including the board of directors in all communications for Leilani resident information on some kind of a secure reporting source, but not to replace police reports. We absolutely want to continue to emphasize your first course of any illegal activity is the police. And we do not want to be thought of as something that can be reached out to, and then we in turn will pass their message on to the police. It will be in addition to police reports. We purchased a website. The website is going to be leilanisafe.org, and it's going to be everything that has to do with the activities of our committee. All of the documentation, all of the forms will all be available at leilanisafe.org, and we'll be able to send information to info@leilanisafe.org to get meaningful and correct information about dealing with crime and squatters. Important to know that website is not yet active. Don't try to go there and look at it or send an email to it. We purchased it. We made the massive investment of $36 to buy that website.
Reimbursed by the board.
Yeah, if it doesn't happen, I'm not losing any sleep over it. I spent more than that on lunch today. We have number 9. We have an organizational meeting planned for Friday, April the 26th at 11 o'clock I want the board to make note of that because I'd like to get permission to have the meeting in this room, even though it's during the time that Kim's working. We still prefer to meet here to give it the credibility of meeting in our facility. Jay Chervosky has been assigned by the board at the request of the committee to have a seat on the committee. So he will be the board representation on the committee, and he will be at that meeting, as will Mike Garbarino, the attorney who's been given permission by the board to work specifically with our committee. Several people have reached out to us that they would like to be prospective meetings, that they would like to be prospective members of the committee. No person can become a member of a board of directors assigned committee without the permission of the board. That's in all Robert's Rules of Convention. So we will be taking all the names of the people who would like to be part of the committee and submitting it to the board for approval. However, what we are looking for is people with very specific skill sets or enthusiasm. Enthusiasm counts more than anything else, but we need someone to build a database. We need someone to come up with some mapping facilities so we can map the community and some other specific things. If you want to know more about that, send me or just get a hold of me. And then lastly, we want to, Neighborhood Watch is just about to have an election this month, and so the new leaders of Neighborhood Watch will be elected for another year, and we're going to immediately ask the Neighborhood Watch leadership to have a coordinating meeting with the Seekirk Committee so that we can accomplish mostly two things. We want to have it so that when people are on Neighborhood Watch, they know where the problems are, so that they know what to be looking for, so that they know which houses are the ones that we've already identified as having potential crime or being used for stashing stolen goods or drug activity. And then secondly, we want to not be duplicating efforts, because we're going to be putting some homes underneath under our surveillance as well, so that we have more oversight over certain homes that we feel have that we've gotten information from the police based on license plate numbers and photographs that they're being occupied by known felons and wanted persons. That's it. Thank you from the Seekirk Committee.
Moving on to tourism. Great.
Boy, where do we start? So there's a lot of ideas that have been flying around, and that's all it is ideas. There's some tourism could really benefit this neighborhood greatly. Okay, it might come in for our roads. I know some people don't want to hear the idea of helping other people, but for some reason, you know, I feel compelled to create something that helps people that are in odd situations. Not everybody got to get insurance, or there's so many various situations why somebody didn't get insurance or couldn't get insurance or what. I really kind of, it became personal to me because, you know, I realized I was the only person out of 8 houses on my side of Leilani Estates on my street that got any insurance at all. And I'm very fortunate for that. But the rest of them, nothing, zilch. And I just think that we would be throwing away a perfectly good opportunity because the tourism is already here. I mean, we put roadblocks up, they still go. Gates on Leilani Avenue, how long is that going to take? There is a really good opportunity to take advantage of this situation and make the most of it, and that's just how I feel about it. I'm open to ideas. I think everybody had submitted different ideas, and I think actually if we could put them all together into like a unified effort, we can kind of lower the traffic on certain streets that have just been, it's been a free-for-all for so long. If they don't want it, they don't have to have it on the streets. There are, I think it, Leilani Community Association cannot actually do business. They can take a donation, but they can't do the actual business. So really what it boils down to me is private property owners. They're the key because, you know, do we want all these cars on the roads? They have to go somewhere. They have to go to a physical location that's worthy of getting out of a car or getting out of a van. The only way to do that is to have a private owner host. There are a variety of locations in the neighborhood that are worth it.
I would be the first to sue that private owner.
Oh, okay.
Just put that out there.
But here's the deal is, why would you sue them?
Well, doing private business in Leilani.
Well, what is wrong with a private business in Leilani?
Impacting the community, disturbing the privacy and peace of the neighborhood.
Okay.
And I'm
That's
sure
not
that-
happening right now?
Well, it is happening, and we're free to do it, but I think as a board, it's very easy to prevent. Why should we allow it? Why can't we prevent it?
I'm just saying, let's work with it.
Does the community support tourism? We don't even know that. No one's taken a vote that has been held.
Well, I mean-
We know you do, but we don't know the community.
What's wrong with having business in Leilani?
This is why,
Well, it's traffic.
this is why I think we.
I'm just curious.
This is
There's
why-
massage there.
How much traffic?
Hang on.
There's,
Chris is just talking about tourism. You had your chance already, so you gotta listen to Chris.
I'm just saying that businesses are not disallowed in Leilani Estates. I mean, people have had businesses here for years. So how does somebody get to say, well, I don't like this business, I'm gonna sue them? I mean, you can, but really, while this other person had a salon for years on that same road and nobody said a thing. You know, there's various things.
I thought businesses were
What's that?
prohibited in the CCNR.
Where? Show me. Show me.
I don't know, I haven't read it.
Well, it's not zoned commercially.
Actually, it's all ag.
Yeah, so that's-
So what kind of thing, what kind of
Tourism isn't
activity?
an ag business.
Well, you might want to go look in the definitions of permissible uses for ag land. Do the homework. Go ahead.
One of the permissible uses, the last permissible use, is for cultural and informational organizations to impart information to the community or to the
There's
area.
a long list of
That
activities.
is one of the allowed uses of agricultural land.
Right.
So that's a business.
I mean, there's, people have had businesses here forever, and to say that they can't use, actually, I'm gonna go out and say it, there's actually restrictions, there's laws against restricting ag land. Period.
No, there's not.
You know, huh? You don't think?
No, there's a grandfather. Leilani's grandfather in on that long before that law passed.
But,
Yeah.
so for it doesn't apply.
There
to
is a law, but yeah, because of the grandfather clause.
The way it's written, it seems like it's talking to us.
Yeah.
So there's you know, but there's, you know, you live on ag land. I think I'd like to investigate that. Go ahead, sir.
There are a variety of different ways to handle tourism, and it doesn't have to necessarily be on private property, I don't think. I mean, it seems to me there are options. We're just talking about different options, okay? So as this thing boils down, certainly we're going to have more meetings, we're going to have more discussions, we're going to hammer things out. But what my person and you and I talked about this before, to me, the people are coming. Look what's happening. They keep coming. You know, we're not going to stop them. We're not going to fight them. I mean, you can, but fight them for the rest of your life. That was what we're going to do. Doesn't make any sense to me. We need to manage it somehow. However we manage it, whether it's a gate, whether it's whatever you do. But let's make it a win-win-win situation. Let's make it something good for the community, something good for the residents, something good for the visitors that come here, something good for Pahoa, something good for the Puna. You know, have it work for everybody. So let's work together to try to make that happen and look at all of our options.
Right.
Because there are options to do, you know, to say, oh, you can't do this because you can't have a business, you know. Let's just discuss it. Let's just talk about it.
I think
You
it
know?
should be open for discussion.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't. But, you know, there are some things that, you know, that rub people the wrong way, and there's other things that people seem to like.
Well,
And so let's figure it out, because it ain't working now. You know?
the private roads where they're just parking at the end of the roads isn't really working quite that well. So what other options do we have? I mean, they're not going to come here to see anything. They got to go walk. You know, there's all different ideas and there's all different angles to look at this, but I just think we need to have an honest discussion on it.
Chris, the thing that really resonated with me was, I've forgotten your name, I apologize. Robin, what Robin said. I live way up at the top, as you know, and Sam and I are absolutely unaffected by the tourism. But one of the things that we value so highly in living here is just peace and quiet. And so I think that what Robin said really rang true with me, that if I felt like my something could mitigate that and make that be less rather than more, that would sit very high on the priorities for those decisions. And I do agree with you when you say it's here and to deny its existence would be silly. But I think that the continuation of our community in a particular way for the reasons that we moved here should be one of our primary goals moving forward from the eruption, to try to restore things back as much as we possibly can, which I know a lot of it never will be, but I don't think that raising large amounts of money, for example, should be high on the priorities. I think bringing the community back to what we all want the community to be should be the highest agenda item.
I just feel like we're leaving some people out, that's all. But, I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah, no,
We're leaving some people out, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, like Mick said, it's complicated.
It is.
But I think that you guys making the summary statement, even though I know it was presented from just a conversational point of view of the meetings you've had, I think the very first thing you should be doing is getting feedback from the community, not talking amongst yourselves. I think you should be getting a lot. You know, one of the things that we seem to all be getting better at as a community is talking to each other.
So Andy, that's why we're meeting here. That's exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying it too. Yeah.
Are you done, Chris?
I'm good.
Do,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I don't know where you're at on component. I'm just curious. I mean, I don't have to know the address, I'm just curious. Are you
No.
right there, right across from Pam? Or are
Across
you
from where?
Before, man.
just before Pam?
We're next door to where down on Taylor.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, we met
Gotcha.
you in my driveway.
Starts.
So, you know, there's no guarantee that this present rate of tourism is going to continue. You know, that's a really big question mark. If there's an eruption elsewhere in the next couple of years, the tourism's gonna flock to that location. This will be a minor
Right.
attraction. So one thing I would say is don't invest in it really heavily without considering that. The other thing is, has anybody done a financial forecast, you know, to just see, well, what kind of money are we actually, you know, gonna bring in with this plan that you have? And is it worth the disruption? Is it worth, you know, when we moved here, everything was tranquil, obviously, and now it's changed. But I can't see encouraging tourism. It's just, you open a door, you cannot shut it again. You know, it's one of those things. If you've lived in different parts of the world, you've seen that happen over and over again. even Hawaii's story is a little bit like that, you know? It's like you open the floodgate.
I think that was opened up on May 3rd.
Pardon me?
So I think that gate was opened up.
I got one observation too about, it's already here, it's too late, but I look at crime and tourism as the same package. Crime's already here, does that mean we embrace it, manage it, and promote it?
No, but
We try to stop
tourism
that.
is an economic driver here in Hawaii.
So is crime.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
So, I don't think crime equals tourism.
I look at it in the same boat.
I just like to say that,
They disrupt the community.
the question is, for me, finding the best possible balance. I like what Andy said personally about the idea that we should ensure the peace and quiet, that should be an objective of ours. I personally agree with that. But I see here that tourism is a way of educating people about Hawaii. It's something about this particular experience, and that it's beyond the issues of, well, this is mine, but what can we share with the rest of the world? I've always been personally so impressed by Hawaiians who say that, well, tourism is good because we get to spread aloha around the world. And so for me, this experience of this laga is a chance to educate people about Hawaii, the culture here, and our way of life here. And so I see tourism as a way of spreading peace in the world. And I don't want to jeopardize, I personally say this, I do not want to jeopardize the peace here to do that.
The what?
I do not want to jeopardize peace here
Yeah.
to accomplish that goal. But I really believe it's about having conversations, communication, and trust with each other, and so we can sit down and talk and share ideas. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Thank you. As was said, May 3rd, everything changed, and as the eruption goes, we've got people, the people that have homes here, we're the fortunate ones. We are really blessed to still have our homes. And then there are people that are impacted by that fissure 8 and the fissure lines that went through, and that's when you stop and you realize your life is affected too and will always be changed by that. What I'm looking at or want to ask is, there's talked about there is a plan, there isn't a plan. Do we have an idea of how we are going to start this process? Are we going to have a committee? Are we going to lay out a plan? Are we going to start looking at all these questions? I mean, all the good examples that have always come from this group is when everyone pulleys together and puts their ideas together, and suddenly everyone's a part of it, rather than we've just gone through almost a year now of being totally removed and manipulated by something out of our force. Now we have the ability, and there's a lot of frustration going on in here to do things in a calm, rational, open level like we are. I mean, I feel like we're once again putting the cart before the horse. Nothing has been planned. We're here to start those plans. No assuming. Let's not assume, please. Let's just stay with what we have. Assuming gets us into trouble. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've sat here for 6 months. I'm a seasonal resident. Victor's a full-time resident. I've listened to all this talk about gates and tourism. Him and I would like to go home. We have a home just up the road here. And there's very little talk to that. I've had some discussion with Mark and a couple of the board members. Thankfully, there's some talk now, but we've been waiting 6 months, or at least the last 3 or 4 months. We should have find out if that's feasible. I personally believe it is now. The people I've talked to, I'm tired of listening about gates and tourism right now. We want to go home. So I'm hoping March. I've got 3 weeks left here, and I'm going back. And we'll go back to the fall. Victor wants to get in. My neighbor across the road is back in California. He's got living with his daughter, from what I understand. He wants to come back. Our places are fine. We just might have to make some altercations with the power and stuff like that. We just want to rough in the road as quick as we possibly can. I'm hoping.
When you're disabled, it's hard to walk over lava. That's the bottom line. It's dangerous.
My wife and I spent our first night there last night.
It's a danger issue.
coming back today after the rain is like 50% of it's like walking through a song. We've got a road in there, and be careful with every step, but I'm tired of hearing about gates and tourism right now. I just want the road something in there as soon as possible. That's my message.
Thank you.
I spoke to Leslie Wilson that runs his business at Harvard, and the only problem he told me is he would have to have property owner permission, because what he have to do is he gotta cut the ridge from one end, from the west side, going to the lava channel, and he gotta find his way more or less northeast, and look for one shallow section in the lava channel, and he gotta come back up again on the east side, so that he can work his way towards the isolated homes, because there's existing pavement there. From there, he's gonna cut his way back to the channel. Try use only material on Leilani Kahukai Street, and try to make a road, and he gotta fill up that pathway right into the channel, and then tie into Luana Street. So that's the challenge he gotta look at, and he has to be positive. He's bringing in surveys to survey that line. But as far as the cost, he don't know yet. He's gonna get back to me and let me know what the cost is. And
This is an offer I'm making. I don't care who gets to do it if it becomes feasible, which I think it is feasible. You should do it by the hour. We should have a person on there, a consultant, making sure that it's getting done the way we want it done, and you folks want it done. We just want a rough in road. If I had to get a 4-wheel drive, or I've got a all-wheel drive now, I guess that's all we want. I've offered to pay for the consultant. I've got a friend he actually built my home, is excellent at that kind of work, and I'll pay for it. You guys want to?
You gotta get it in.
What's the distance?
400 feet.
3/4 of a month.
3/4.
3/4.
About. It's, I was up to the top of the ridge the other day and had some nasty hot spots. The fellow who was there said, this is relatively easy stuff to work with. It's not a real rock. But anyway,
have both of you tried to consider claiming your homes condemned and have the county buy you out?
I guess this is my fault. That deal is, in point of tourism, we got the best view of everything up there. I've got ocean view that I never had before. It's a beautiful facility up there. If you can
right there.
You wanted to buy
It's gonna take tourism to get there.
Well,
I mean,
it's
that's what this
it's
is
away
these are
from
the things that
everybody.
we're
$5.95 a piece, come on down.
It's
You can make plenty of money there.
It's away from everybody else.
Yeah.
It's just kind
I
of.
mean, I gotta be honest with you, if my home was still there, I wouldn't consider it.
Pardon me?
I wouldn't consider having it condemned if my home was still standing there.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I just wanna get to it, that would be,
Yeah.
that's me.
Gotcha.
Is there even a provision for the county to buy condemned homes? Does that even exist in the legal mechanisms of the county?
Something I would have to look into.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not to say.
Get them started.
Any other comments?
Probably not in this decade.
Just a question, you were talking about having to get, I understand, if I look at that map, Kahukai looks like a straight line from Luana.
It is.
So since Kahukai exists as an existent road, although it's 50 feet down, if you were to follow that, it's a GPS road, right?
Right.
It's going to intersect, the only big hazard, I take it, is the river.
Yeah.
The dry river, cool river. And the danger for the workers or the operators is to get down into the river and then back up safely. And that's where the change in direction would come.
The problem is he can get in, but he cannot get up in line. He would have to travel east, like I said.
East side is the hard side.
Northeast.
Against the bank is the
Yeah.
hard part.
I don't know if it's feasible to cut it, like, one of them said, you bring in a excavator with a chisel on it and cut it down wide enough for the 16-foot blade to get through it.
That would be one way.
That's his suggestion, whether you want to cut that berm or not, I don't know. I don't think it'll ever flow again in our lifetime again, but you want to be able to fill it in real quick if you have to stop it from coming leaking through there, but that was the only concern I would have about just chipping it out. I guess they're doing it in different places. I don't know.
Well, we gotta.
Well, they've reached it downstream some
Yeah.
for BGA.
Any of the board members have any comments?
I could throw this, a question was raised about what's this tourism thing worth. I did a, shall we say, unofficial, informal count one day, or 2 or 3, sitting on Cabono and just watching. And saw enough individuals, and I see them with $10 bills on top of their head. Tourism has money, let's put it that way. Based on what I saw, ran over $1 million for first year. And looking at decreasing it by 1/3 each year for 5 years represented about 4.4 million gross. That would be if there was a dedicated fenced facility that they went into and couldn't get out of, either the cars drive in, the tour vans or whatever.
It's a lot of money to fight over, a lot of community contention, a lot of lawsuits. That's what it is.
Yeah, but that, to put it in perspective, there's a lot of people. Yes, it tapers, and the fact that tapers are pretty heavy. The odds of Lava popping up somewhere else and stealing our thunder is probably pretty low. I wouldn't think we want to bet our future directly on that. Considering the fact that we bet our future back in 1968 when they created the development here, which wasn't that far after 1955 when the previous eruption happened. So there is no safe place on Earth, just a matter of adapting.
It seems like there's just in this group of people here, there's an amazing cross-section of opinions and ideas and possibilities and life experience that could be brought to play. It seems like, Chris, what you should be doing now is forming a committee, a tourist committee. The Gate Committee, when we did that, it ended up with great dialogue, with people feeling an absolute opposition to each other, and yet meaningful and respectful conversation took place around it. And I think that one thing that the new board should really lean heavily on, which in the 9 years Pam and I have been here, never happened in the past ever before, was just the creation of committees. Boards of directors are meant to work with committees. They're not meant to do things on their own. Committees are meant to do the legwork for the board of directors, to bring pertinent information to the board of directors that's both based upon the desires of the community, but also based upon the knowledge base that's entirely available through the internet and all the other amazing sources. So for us, again, to fall prey to the fact that U6 would even vaguely have the cumulative knowledge or wisdom or experience to make these decisions for us is heading exactly down the wrong road again. You need to lean on the community and reach outside the community. One of my biggest beefs with the county of Hawaii, the way they handled the whole eruption, was they did not bring in experts from other places. They tried to do it completely with the knowledge that was already here, and they got in over their heads on many, many counts because of that. You guys have even less governmental chops than the county of Hawaii. So, and I only say that honestly because you're all my friends, every single, I don't know Heath well yet, but I plan on being a friend.
You won't like me once you get to know me.
There's incredible experience, knowledge, and wisdom in this community, and on so many things, we're not breaking new ground here. There are communities in Florida that have recovered from horrible hurricanes, communities in the Midwest that have recovered from tragic tornadoes and earthquakes around the world. And that's essentially what we're doing, is we're trying to recover from a natural disaster. And we need to do it so that we look back 5 years from now and say, man, we did a great job of that. That really worked out well. And so for us to get into a pissing match now about what it should be or shouldn't be, with either between us or within yourselves, is just not the object of the exercise right now. The object of the exercise is for us to all to come to some cumulative collective decision. And you guys may be representing us, but you don't yet have the trust for us to feel that your decisions are the best for us.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. You're correct about having committees, because we have so many different parts of our system that does need committees. We know that we can't do it alone. We're just elected officers to take care of the business at hand, but we welcome the whole community to come and participate with the planning and sharing of ideas, so that everyone will be part of it and have their voice heard. And there's a reason why you came to Hawaii. Hawaii has the Aloha spirit. It has a spirit that permeates the land. And that's what calls you here. And yes, it is peace. And yes, it is tourism. We are all tourists. Wherever we go, we're tourists. So to exclude tourists is excluding yourself from experience. I believe in education. I believe in sharing the culture of Hawaii and the values and the principles that we practice. And I know that some of you are drawn to those kinds of things because it's in you. And so when you meet someone that speaks about those things, you acknowledge yourself. So I just want to extend my thoughts to you that it's not us, it's we, all of us. It's not just us, it's all of us. We can't do it, we need you, okay?
Thank you.
Can I make a small point? It sounds like a small point, but it may not be. I think tourism is the wrong word. Tourism carries a connotation of masses, of invading. Let's change the word to visitor management. The people are coming here, and how long they come here, whether they come here for a year, 2 years, 5 years, they were still coming to Kalapana before this happened. That was 35 years ago, 30 years ago. You don't know. There could be another eruption, could take it away from here. But people come here, so as long as they're coming here, let's manage that somehow. Let's do the best we can to manage that somehow. A lot of different ways to do that. But saying tourism turns people off immediately. They're here, no matter what we call them. So let's manage this situation. Thanks.
I want to make sure you realize there was a tourism committee. Anywhere from 2 to 12 people would show up to meetings, drawn out for over 2 months. They did come to a conclusion. They did submit a proposal. It did not get any respect in the community or the old board. I think it was a total waste of mine and the other people's time and energies.
While
and
the
the county was
going on.
even... Yes.
While the eruption was going on.
Yes.
Different thing.
I know, it's changed. Things have changed. The board has changed.
I didn't know about it, so you're right. It didn't get good.
Yeah, it was... I don't think I could do another one because of the time I already wasted on it. So...
Okay.
I just want to make sure you understood it. It was already looked at.
Hey, Rob.
I didn't.
I just want to interject to that. You know, you cannot be negative all the time. If you don't succeed the first time, try again.
Mark, I think it's important that there is another tourism committee, but it has to be for people that are against it and people that are for it. So they can kind of hash it out. It can't be all people for it or against it. Like I think you two should definitely be on the tourism committee. You're on Paula Street. And people like Chris too. But that's what it's going to take. We have to form a consensus and move forward where everybody can be on board.
Anything else?
That's
Any
it.
other comments? Chris?
Were you the one asking for the monitor?
Oh, the gas monitor, yes.
Okay, you're getting one. We're gonna get a permanent one in Leilani.
Okay. Will it be hooked to some kind of alerting system?
I'll ask.
Okay.
But it's gonna take a little bit of time, but it's a go.
One more statistic, I did some research back in October, I think it was, about gated communities, we're really working that issue. Typically, real estate values within gated communities, about 28% have found 3 different references to that number, higher than non-gated.
28% times 0.
True.
I have a question. Can I say something?
I'm just throwing that out, has no bearing on anything.
We still live in Mava Zone 1. A fancy gate, is that really gonna affect your property values? If you start rumbling again,
Yeah, probably the
you're-
going up as a street.
Yes, it absolutely.
You think
If
it
you look
adds
at
up?
Also, you know, the community down on the coast, next to vacation land. Yeah.
Beach lots.
Beach lots.
That was very successful gated community.
Until it's gone. I mean,
And when we were having all the break-ins back to back in our neighborhood.
where would you put a gate? Where
You
would you
know,
want it?
I would like not to get into that now.
No, this is
Yeah.
time.
There's a lot of history to that area too, and they had major problems when they started that gate. Major problems in the
Yeah.
community. So it wasn't just easy for them. They had major problems.
Yeah.
Break-ins, taking it down, you know.
Yeah, it's okay. Perseverance. I have a question about, Mark, something you said about the speed bumps. It seems to me that it should be, the folks on my life, I doubt that statistic at all. In fact, I'm surprised it's as low as it is. The folks in Miley have a very unique situation in that they have to bear a lot of traffic that's just being done rudely, is the only word I can use for it, by folks who don't help support that road. It seems to me that it should be the funds of the community, that part of the LCA fund should be used to create those speed bumps rather than asking the neighbors there to do that. I think that would be a very appropriate use of LCA funds to help bring relief to those folks.
I would support that idea myself.
To follow up on that, would not FEMA, would that not be something that was generated by a natural disaster? And could that not be, Jay, something that could be included in from FEMA, so that FEMA would pay for it? I mean,
How would
Yeah,
that,
this would be different because it's the section 1 offenders.
how was it affected by the eruption? How did the eruption cause that?
I don't think so.
People are just speeding to get out of here?
But why can't Leilani 1 pay into the road fund anyway?
They don't want to.
I know they don't want to, but they want to use the road, but they don't want to.
It'd be interesting if they were asked, if they were.
They get it for free right now.
Well, I've talked to Leilani 1 people who say they willingly pay into it.
Yeah, I don't see why they don't
Some-
do like increments of it, like, okay, you get a group and go that far, and then get the next.
Because they don't want roads. But they want to use our roads, if they want to wait.
We'll try to do it all like.
They want to use our roads, they should pay something, right?
But at the end of the day, we need to bring relief to the people on Miley Street.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just like to say one last thing. I'll just speak for myself. I heard everything you said, and I know you had an impact here on this board. And I hope you come to all the meetings. Come, please show up again next month. but this is how we're gonna grow as a community. Giving us feedback. We don't, you're right, Andy, we don't far have all the answers. We have a few.
We don't what?
We have few answers, we don't have all the answers,
Yeah.
you know. And what Colin said, it's only us working together and not to think this is we and they, you know. So I just hope there's a trust there.
Historically, the board kind of, if you will, worked in a vacuum because nobody wanted to participate outside of the board. You know, the average meeting took an hour. It was shocking if 2 people showed up that weren't on the board. So life has changed.
I think that to follow what Mark, I really applaud what you said about don't talk behind our backs. You know, if you have something to say it to us. But I think that you guys have to make sure that you're operating by that standard as well. That you can't then be making decisions for us without getting our input. And so I think that your summary statement about the fact that tourism is being explored, I think you have to keep it open that no tourism is being explored too, in the sense that the dialogue has to run all the way from one end of the gamut to the other before you kind of pronounce to us that a decision's been made.
One quick thing. I looked into the gates a little bit, and Leilani 1 has on their deed that says that they own 2,400 and whatever, however many lots Leilani has. They own that portion of the roads of all of Leilani to be used in conjunction and cooperation with all other residents. So they own the rights to our road just as we own the rights to theirs. From what I read in the deed anyway.
I spoke to Ray Hasagawa today. I spent an hour and a half with him. And one of the issues was Section 1 and Section 2. Of course, you're right. Just went blank. Yeah, they have the authority to use our roads here in Section 2, and as well as Section 2 into Section 1. The part is, Section 1 was built before Section 2, you know? And nobody took the initiative to try to incorporate that section. When they opened up the bottom 2/3 of LCA 2, then they started incorporating an association, and then Section 1 was left out. So, but we can do something about it. We can. It's a long process, very long. Yeah, we can try and get some kind of contribution from Section 1, not exactly what Section 2 is paying, but we can get at least some kind of contribution, yeah? Because they're not using all the roads, you know, not all the roads. Just something where, so that we know that they're part of, you know, Leilani, you know? Yeah. Because the whole issue is, now that we know that they're up there, and we're down here, and they want to be part of Section 2, you know? So, we gotta really think about this. And also, on this 501c3, 501c4, Leilani has that we can be generating funds. It's called unrelated business income. We can do that. Any other comments? Questions?
Yes, but what does Section 1 want, and how do we go about finding out? Because they don't ever seem to tell us what they want, they seem to tell us what they don't like and what they don't want. So
someone wants to be part of Section 2, you know, they're willing to pay the assessment and everything that we pay. But you know, it's not 100%, yeah?
Sure.
We gotta get 100% from section 1.
There's 195 properties in section 1, 102, I think, have houses. So it's less than 10% the size of LCA.
And I suppose we need to also address what does section 2 want from section 1? We don't want them driving on Lilac Street, but do we want anything else from them? I don't think the money is a big deal. Maybe it's the goodwill, maybe it's them joining us. Maybe it's more of a, get the whole group in there because we need a lot of voices and energy. But I don't think either one of us has stated what we want. Do we even want to be together?
Well, it's something we have to look into. You know, it's gonna be a long process. But like I said, we gotta look at the issues that we have now and gradually get to that point. If there's nothing else, I would like to kind of recognize Greg Armstrong. You know, he stepped down from the board, and I guess we have something that we want to give him, but he wasn't aware that we were going to give him something. So, you want to?
Well, I would like you to speak, because I never served with Greg, you served with Greg. And I thought you would just sort of speak to honor his work, you know.
Yeah. Well, Greg, he's done a lot for the community, and he's still, you know, doing his volunteer work. He's been with the board, at least, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay? 10, 15 years?
11 years, I think.
11 years? Okay, 11 years. So, and
He's still a kid compared to you.
Oh. But I just want to recognize him in all the things, excuse me, in all the work that he's done there.
He has a very high level of support from the community.
Yeah, he does.
I think he received the most number of votes.
So with that said, anything else the board want to add? Pete.
I'm sorry, I got a question though. When is the decision going to be made about who is going to be the 7th person on the board? Well, you know, is there a timeline?
In the middle of May.
In the middle of May?
Yes. We have two weeks for people to get in their intention that they want to be interviewed, and then we'll have a meeting, you know, sometime by the middle of May.
Thank you.
That decision will be made.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh.